Number 13, Between Two Ferns, the movie. If you like Zach Galifianakis, you'll probably like this movie. Imagine a whole film where Alan from The Hangover just goes around insulting celebrities and having mental breakdowns. Zach's a funny guy, so it's worth a watch. It's not anything special, but it's kind of funny. 6 out of 10. Number 14, Dr. Sleep. I was expecting this to be bad, I'm not gonna lie. But it was actually a fun 40-year sequel to The Shining. I appreciated that for the most part, it was just its own thing. It was essentially a vampires vs. telepaths movie, and I had a good time watching that. It explains what The Shining was a bit more, and adds a new narrative to an existing property. You could say it takes away from the horror-like mystery of the original, but I thought it was important to get more perspective considering that the main character has been dealing with this world since he was really young. The villain could have had more victories, and the heroes could have had more losses, but I enjoyed the film from beginning to end. 7 out of 10. Number 15, Zombieland Double Tap. Boom boom. A great self-aware sequel to a great self-aware comedy. It truly feels like just more of the first movie, only with characters that are more used to the world. I laughed while viewing at how much this movie knowingly capitalizes on cliches. It's super fun. 7 out of 10. Number 16, The Irishman. I'm happy I got to watch De Niro, Pesci, and Pacino act in a Scorsese film at least one more time. That being said, this movie is too f***ing long. It should have been a mini-series with how much content was crammed into it. Also, I thought the ending was weak, and that the film essentially ended an hour before it actually did. Production was great, acting was great. It's a Scorsese movie, it's gonna be pretty good, but it could have been tighter and better, not even close to his best work by a long shot. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's close to a 7, but it's a 6. Number 17, Jojo Rabbit. A film about a Nazi kid with Hitler as his imaginary friend? Who the f*** thought this was okay? How dare you? How dare you, Taika Waititi? How dare you make a mass-appealing film with A-list talent like Scarlett Johansson and Sam Rockwell to appeal to American audiences in order to get them to see a film about Jew haters? How dare you introduce such talented no-name kid to play the leading role and craft such a tight, impressive, heartfelt narrative around his perspective? How dare you? I loved it. 9 out of 10. Number 18, El Camino. El Camino is the perfect finale to Breaking Bad, in my opinion. The one issue I actually had with the ending of the show was, what happened to Jesse Pinkman? Bitch. This is essentially a long episode that answers that question and gives a send-off to beloved characters in the show like Skinny Pete and Badger. I loved it. I get why a lot of people thought it was unnecessary, and that it takes away from the realism of Jesse's life just falling apart at the end of the show, but I'm happy that he got the ending he deserves. It makes me feel like there's some justice in the world, okay? 9 out of 10. What you gonna do about it? Number 19, 21 Bridges. Do you like generic action dramas about cops with A-list celebrities playing the main character? Do you like diverse casting? If so, this is the movie for you. I have to say, this movie is actually pretty tightly written. It does a good job at crossing two narratives from the perspective of a cop and a criminal. It leaves an unanswered question that has a cliché, predictable payoff, but it was directed and presented pretty well. It's an okay action film with decent performances. 6 out of 10. Number 20, Richard Jewell. I'm actually in this film. See, there I am, right there. Got to work with Clint Eastwood on set. It was pretty cool. I was an extra, but it was still pretty cool. Clint Eastwood has a long history of impressive accomplishments, and comparatively, this film is just okay. It tells the story without any real twists or turns, and gives you a historical recap. I enjoyed the experience. I thought that it was a really good story that confirms pretty much what any common sense person already feels about the government's intelligence agencies. It's perfectly fine as a movie that tells a guy's story, but it's not much more interesting than that. You can maybe read into it that Richard Jewell is a kind of Donald Trump, in the sense that he's getting railed by the media, and Clint just wanted to make a statement about misrepresentation or something from his conservative political perspective, but I don't know if that's the case. Anyway, it was fun to be with Clint on set here in Atlanta, and I'm really glad that he's still making stuff even at his age. I'll give it a 6 out of 10, though. It was okay. It was no $1 Million Baby. Number 21, Uncut Gems. Yeah, baby. This is the best Adam Sandler performance of all time, hands down. I hope he gets nominated because he was amazing. A24 has been killing it this year with the movies that they've been coming out with. Between its cyclical intro and outro, the stressful character choices, mostly Howard's, the realism of cultural interplay, and the showcasing of how gambling addiction can destroy your life, it's a near-perfect film. Some resolutions were abrupt and unsatisfying, but I feel like that was kind of the point. The interplay and abrupt ending showcase a realistic kind of perspective that I don't think you would have had in a more produced narrative. This film is raw, real, and ready to kick your ass as an audience member. Highly recommended, 9 out of 10. One of the best films of the year. Number 22, Little Women. This movie is sweet and gives you warm feelings. The performances are the heart of the film, and I enjoyed the perspective of women in a time period that didn't give them a lot of power or influence. I haven't seen the 90s version, but I hear it's a lot better. Feel like the editing was a bit weird and disjointed. I had a hard time keeping up with what time period we were supposed to be in for the first half of the film, but I eventually got it. It's not perfect, but it's definitely worth a watch. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, mostly for the performances. They were pretty good. Number 23, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This film got me right in the feels. It's a wonderful love letter to Mr. Rogers, and the way he touched so many lives for the better. He truly is a legend that affected the childhood of so many people just like me. Tom Hanks did some of the best acting I've seen from him in a while, probably since Captain Phillips. And the film speaks directly to its audience about how to respond to a dark, broken world. You could say this is a typical story about how an inspiring figure helped to turn someone's life around, but that's an important story to keep telling. 9 out of 10. Number 24, Cats. This is the most terrifying thing you will see in theaters this year. I can't tell who this was made for, but it's an experience, much like Rocky Horror Picture Show, I guess would be a good comparison. You'll either embrace the uncanny weirdness of this movie, or you'll just hate it and want to leave. It's kind of a repetitive plot, non-stop singing. Basically, the whole thing is a bunch of character introductions, and then who gets to be the choice character. So, if that's not your thing, I would stay away from it, because it's really bizarre and kind of disturbing. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10, but I could definitely understand why a lot of people would watch this just for fun. So, maybe you're one of those types of people. Number 25, The Farewell. This is a really good movie. This is a beautiful piece of cinema. The shot composition, coloring, art direction, damn near everything in this film is good art. The actors are amazingly convincing at portraying an authentic Chinese family dynamic, and the screenplay is one of the best of the year. It will for sure get nominated for several awards, I have no doubt, and it definitely has earned them. I wouldn't want to give too much away about this film because it's such an experience to watch, so I would just go and watch it. But it's super good, especially if you love cinema and you're a film artist yourself. 9 out of 10. And last but not least, number 26, The Rise of Skywalker. I'll definitely make a spoiler review for this because it's Star Wars and it affects us all as a culture. This final installment in the sequel trilogy is, in a word, dumb. I expected no less with the lack of direction this trilogy has had from the beginning, and the subversion of everything built up beforehand by The Last Jedi, but I hoped this would be a more focused narrative that focused mostly on the character development of the main characters and explaining more of the past in detail. I knew it would be a dumb space romp with a shallow explanation due to who was directing and writing it, but I was really hoping it wouldn't feel like more bad fanfiction. Oh well, though. There will be better Star Wars things in the future now that we don't have to make it tied to the Skywalker saga, but I just wish these new films were less insulting to the legacy of the most iconic film trilogy of all time. 4 out of 10. It's kind of fun. It's really stupid. Like, the most stupid Star Wars movie I think that has ever been made. And we had the prequel trilogy. Yeah. And that's pretty much it, folks. Thanks for sticking around. I'll probably see more Oscar-related films before the awards come out, and do probably a video before the Oscars about what my predictions are for who's going to win, much like I did last year. But I think I pretty much summarized the most notable films that I missed doing reviews for this year, and I think we're generally caught up going into this new year. So yeah, if you liked the video, feel free to hit that like button. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can see what's coming out in the future and see more of my beautiful face. Or if you don't want to see my beautiful face, I completely understand. It's not beautiful to everyone, I'm sure, but it's beautiful to me. Got that self-worth, you know? And yeah, have a happy new year, everybody. Love y'all. Hope to see more of y'all in the new year, and hope the channel grows a little bit more, and that I can release more consistent content for more consistent viewers. So yeah, have a good new year, like I just said, and I'll see you next time. Boom! That sucked.